What's up? Is it off? Yeah. Mine.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
And then lean forward about 6 to 9 inches, okay?
A photo. Does
button.
Does this test? Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Testing,
I think so.
testing.
Test. Yeah.
Test.
Okay. Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming today. My name's Leah Dundon. I'm a research professor at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee in the U.S. And I'm here with a group of students that are part of a brand new program funded by our National Science Foundation in the U.S., proudly funded by the NSF. And this program was started, it grew out of a network called the Youth Environmental Alliance and Higher Education. Many people are in the audience today from this network. We grew this course because we realized that climate change education in the U.S. in particular is lacking. It's very easy to graduate even our top universities without ever taking a class in climate, having anything to do with climate change. And we really felt we needed students to learn about how climate impacts many facets of life. It's not just science, it's many different fields. And so we bring together students who are from about a dozen different schools who are actually enrolled in a course at Vanderbilt, but they're a degree student elsewhere. They have different majors, different academic disciplines. They come together, study together, look at climate from different perspectives, and then we bring them to the COP. The other aspect of this program this year is that we are partnering with Oak Ridge National Lab. The national labs in the U.S. there's about 17 of them. They are federally funded, and they are set up to address scientific problems that are seen as too complex for industry or academia to address on their own. So these are powerhouse science research and development centers that have the power of the federal government, the top computing facilities in the country, and they conduct very complex research, and in partnership with universities and industry. And so this year we are partnering with Oak Ridge National Lab on a research project looking at the potential for forests in the U.S., in particular the Southeast, to sequester carbon in terms of their the quality of offsets that people are looking at buying that the prior conference even mentioned. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to one of our graduate fellows, Matthew Manu, and he's going to moderate the discussion, and I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dundon. My name is Matthew Manu. I'm a PhD student at Tennessee State University, and I am a graduate fellow of the Climate Leaders Academy, and I will serve as the moderator. So without wasting much time, I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves and then share their experiences with us concerning the Climate Leaders Academy, and also tell us what part of the Oak Ridge project that they are working on. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. My name is Joe Beeson. I'm a grad student at Michigan Tech University. I'm studying forest ecology. I have a previous history as a mechanical engineer, had a short career there, but this program has given me, the Climate Leaders Association has given me a chance to kind of mesh my engineering background with some of the forest ecology, especially looking at forest carbon and looking at the benefits both from a carbon aspect and the co-benefits of forests. And my hope is that at this COP we'll get to see and learn how some of this is implemented and get a better feel for what are the benefits and how do we look at them and quantify them on a global scale. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. My name is Mira Kelly Fair. I use the pronoun she, her, and I'm a PhD student at Boston University. My specialty is using remote sensing to map mangroves to look at their sustainable development goals and blue carbon goals. Now, I really enjoyed this program because I am more on the hard science side, and it was really great to start meeting with folks from policy backgrounds, from engineering backgrounds, and it helped me start to explore what careers I could go into after I finish my degree. Academia is seen as the traditional course, but there's such a need for this science to drive policy. And this has been a great program for that for me.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon Sloboda. I'm a master's student at Colorado State University. I study political science, particularly environmental policy, mostly focus on political theory. But with this project, I got to branch out and learn some new skills that have really been useful for me, especially when having conversations about this very interdisciplinary topic. I was working on the research data project team, and we got to run some really cool models using some really significant and high-tech software. So that was really a great experience for me, and I got to use the CMIP6 model with a couple of my teammates here to help make future projections about climate conditions in the American Southeast so we can actually quantify these carbon emissions that are possible, or carbon sequestration potential. Yeah, I'll pass it on to my partner here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nirmal Thapa. I am a PhD scholar at Tennessee State University in the United States. Basically, I'm from the forestry background, and then I'm researching on how can I develop, the forest biomass estimation models by using remote sensing technology. And then I'm studying on that, but last year I got the opportunity to be a member of this Climate Leadership Academy being managed by Vanderbilt University. And then this program, CLA program, brought the students from different disciplines, and it provided me with the opportunity to share experiences and learn from others. And as a part of this member, I'm also engaging in the project developed by the Oak Ridge National Lab. The project is like, they are developing how do we develop the mitigation program in the forest sector, especially in the southeast region of the United States. And then as part of the team, I'm engaging in the stakeholder engagement in carbon offset program. And then so far we have identified more than 30 stakeholders, ranging from governmental, non-governmental, private sectors. And then at the same time, we have also, talk to different experts, like different experts from the government agencies, and then also the academia. And then, but through the discussion, we have narrowed down our stakeholders to the 8 to 10 stakeholders right now, but they represent from government, non-government, private sector, and then academia. And then, but still we are in the process of interviewing them to get more information so that we can contribute to the project from Oak Ridge National Lab. That's why we are still working. We are waiting for the IRB approval process, and then by December, I think we'll be done with that project, and we'll contribute to that project from our side. And that's all from my side. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Mattil. I am from the University of Connecticut, the basketball capital of the world. I am a civil engineering PhD student, and as an engineer, I tend to live in a box a lot of the time, which is probably best for me because I don't have to look any of you in the eyes. But it was kind of nice to get out of my box a little bit and work with scientists as an engineer. I a lot of times get science at the end of it, and people look at our discipline and they say, okay, well, now solve this problem. But we weren't involved with the problem until we were given it. And I think it's important for people in my discipline and similar solution-based disciplines to get involved in describing the problem from the offset and getting involved in the science that's going to lead to those solutions. So I think that's been really important for me, just to work with these different disciplines and to learn about things. Trees, I don't know anything about trees, but I was glad to get some of these experiences and kind of branch out of my civil engineering box. But I'll probably go back because I still don't want to look any of you in the eyes. So thank you.
Thank you all for sharing with us your wonderful experiences. I just want to ask what it was like to be in a class with people from different research groups or interdisciplinary groups. How was the experience like?
I'll jump in if that's okay with everybody. You know, I came in as, I guess, just finished up my first year of my master's degree, and I was surrounded by a whole bunch of PhDs, so that was a little intimidating, and especially being a social scientist in a field heavy with biologists, engineers, you know, more of those hard physical sciences. But again, I think that interdisciplinary focus was intentional with this project, and it was nice to see us collaborate and really bounce off each other when it came down to, well, have we considered this in our project? Have we considered that, and what's feasible and what's not? Every class session that we had, we met once a week virtually across the country, but it was always enlightening to hear about the different research people are doing and how it actually ties into the project quite readily. Yeah, for me, I think having just the broader opinions and voices from not only disciplines, but also just backgrounds as individuals, and across the country too. We're a pretty like national group as well, international, I should say. And it was a great experience just to learn about how different projects like this are being, you know, implemented, maybe even in small scales in other countries around the world as well.
Any other?
Yeah, I'm going to chime in real quick and just say that I thought that there was a big language barrier for me working with this group of people, and it had nothing to do with English or anything like that. It was really like the science language that we were speaking. And coming from different disciplines, we weren't all saying the same thing the same way, and I felt like that was a big issue. And I think we see that in climate communication between scientists and the public. And if it's happening between just the scientists who are maybe trying to solve the problem, then maybe we need to clarify what we're talking about together as a group, so that maybe we can approach the public in a more unified way.
Just building off of that, as the scientist, I do feel like convergence was one of the big factors of this, and something that I hope to see more of at the UN. This has been my first COP, which is very exciting, but it is interesting to see that where science, policy, and finance are meeting each other. It's definitely different than I anticipated, and I think that this program really prepared us for that situation.
I guess I'll jump in as well. I think one of the best parts for me was working with a wide variety of people from different backgrounds and skill sets, is you really see that like this is a politically and emotionally charged subject, and everyone has their own fears and their own goals, and it's important that we can understand everyone's fears and understand what are you worried about with climate change, or where should we focus, so that we can coordinate our goals. Because at the end of the day, we all have pretty similar views on what needs to happen, but you have different worries and different ways to get there. So it's been a really important experience to see how other people think and work together. And that's kind of, I guess, why we're all here, right, is to understand how the world thinks about these things and try to work together to do something about it.
Yeah, as a you know, that technical forestry background, always I talk about the technical matters of the forest, but through this CLA program, we have students from different disciplines, and then I have got the opportunity to learn from them like the other social aspects and other, you know, but on behalf, through the climate change perspectives, we can, I'm learning beyond the forest, that's the main, like the CLA program that has contributed to me personally. That's why, I have learned a lot through this program. Still it's going through. I hope in future it has developed a good network among the different, the institutions and then different disciplines, so that we will be able to engage in future too. And we will have the coordination and collaboration to work in the climate change, the programs like in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. At this point, we want to invite questions from the audience.
Can somebody help her with a mic? Thank you.
Thanks. I was just wondering if you all could speak a little bit about what, if anything, brings you optimism about being able to solve some of these incredibly gigantic problems, especially in the face of the recent election, and even without that, just the enormity of the issue. How do you keep hope and have optimism that we can solve these problems?
I'll hop in front of Brandon here because I'm actually going to say that Brandon, our master's student who's intimidated by all of us PhD candidates, people like Brandon actually kind of give me optimism, because Brandon came into this and he said, I'm a social scientist, but I really want to be involved with the data analysis in this. I want to learn how to do this. I want to branch out. I want to get better so that I can speak my language a little bit better, right? And so Brandon and I worked in a group together with a few other students on a lot of the data analysis stuff, and he really ran with it, and he was committed to learning to do it, and he was committed to changing the way that he thought about it, and kind of the way he thinks about climate, because now if he can look at the climate not as a political scientist but also as a data scientist, I think it's going to help people like him who are young and trying to just get into academia as they kind of pursue maybe their future career in climate.
I just want to say thank you from the outset. That was very nice. I guess I'll kind of jump in too, and optimism in the face of the many challenges that we now are entering into, right? Especially from being motivated about the environment from a very young age, and in some ways seeing, one step forward, two steps back, or two steps forward, one step back. That's what I meant to say there. It's still progress forward, and I think that's the important thing. Is no path in life, even at the individual level, is going to be linear, right? That's what I've always been told. We all have different paths forward, and I think the Earth is no different, right? So just because we have to take a different, audible, right, and go in a different direction, it doesn't mean that the problem isn't surmountable. So I really do remain optimistic, especially when you have this global venue that we're all here, and we're all committed to a really similar thing. I mean, that speaks volumes. I'm beyond impressed to see how many people are here, and this is my first COP, committed to solving this, and I think that speaks volumes in and of itself.
I'm optimistic about a lot of this because I've met so many people and I've seen so many people who really care and want to make differences. And like I said earlier, I think that we all at the end of the day want the very same thing, and it just depends on motivation. In a political atmosphere, especially the United States, right, everyone knows what's happening with us, it's not about forcing your ideas on other people, it's about meeting them halfway and understanding their motivations so that we can build something together. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants clean water, better air, atmosphere, trees, but you have your own priorities, and so understanding other people and meeting halfway is how anything gets done.
I do know that as Americans, we are prone to being overly optimistic. I've been told that multiple times, and it has been a very challenging week for us. As a woman in STEM, this past election has really affected the way that I'm viewing my career opportunities going forward. So I think this has been incredibly challenging for all of us. And again, Brandon has been our absolute light of optimism through all of this. So again, thank you, Brandon.
Yes, thank you. interested to hear you talk about what you're going to be bringing home from COP and what home means in terms of the climate work. What is the connection between the local and the global for each of you in this work?
All right, so my advisor likes to use this phrase, think locally, act locally, globally. And I think that that is a very important message here at COP, is that this global action is fantastic, but if we're not also doing that at a local scale, it doesn't matter as much. We do have to take this home and actually incorporate it in our home. Obviously, this is day one of COP, so I can't even tell you what I can imagine that we will get out of this, but this has just been already an incredible opportunity, getting to meet with scientists, policymakers from around the world, and learning so many different viewpoints.
I'm personally most interested in taking the temperature of the climate negotiations and kind of understanding what do people care about on a global scale. Kind of like you're saying, Mira, there is all these global things going on, and how does that impact me who lives in the middle of the woods in Michigan? And forestry and carbon and those things are on one scale important to us, but how does that look on a global scale? So I'm most interested in that, understanding what do people care about here and what are moving negotiations forward.
I think that, with the changes in the political climate here lately and, maybe the way that everybody is viewing the administration that's coming to govern the United States shortly, I think there's a lot of probably pessimism about climate. You heard the last panel, and obviously what they were speaking about was really, really important. And I think that what I'm going to take home from both COP and probably this entire situation is that, I'm undeterred. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm trying to do, and I don't think many of the people in this room are going to either. And I don't think that all these people that filled this conference are just going to, tuck their tail between their legs and just call it a day because, maybe the person they thought that could do the best job isn't doing the job right now. So, I think at a local level, I think each one of us and the research that we do contributes in a way. And I think that that's probably what we can practically do as much as possible. And I think the further we push those things, they can become national, state, global level solutions, especially with, I think, sort of interdisciplinary solutions that projects like this can create.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, I've been working on forest resource management. It's a totally a climate change mitigation aspect. But at the same time, there are other issues, like the equity, good governance. There are other aspects of the issues that has been arising. And then from this COP, this is my first time. I think based on the nature of the climate change, it's think individually and act globally. And from this COP, I will take a key message how can we unite globally, and then we deliver the same issue to achieve the common goal, through coordination, partnership, and collaboration. That's the main thing, and then I keep on working on my aspects. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I guess, what I'm bringing home from this experience, not only is the personal growth in learning how to use different types of scientific methodology and, what that means for my personal research, but even more importantly, my personal research is interested in social movements around the environmental cause, and I look at this COP as so many people coming from different countries and backgrounds, all with a similar goal in mind. Even if you do stand elsewhere in other type of social movements, this is something that unifies us all, and that particularly is really interesting to me and the research I do at my institution. So I will hopefully be taking this and making mini COPs at every other conference I go to or class I hold or undergrads I teach. So.
Okay, because of time, we want to respect your time, so.
Any final questions before we go?
I have one more thing I would like to say. I just want to say thank you to Leah Dundon and the rest of the crew at the program. We all got to work with Climate Leadership Academy. We had a really great experience. I can probably speak on behalf of us all. Stay tuned and look out for all of our updates. We're making a website right now, so all of our project will be up there, and the 3 teams will have all the reports put up there. So stay tuned in with the Climate Leadership Academy and share us with your networks if possible. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.